Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Right? It's our Friday. Isn't that neat? It's our Friday. Hydrating a little bit. Oh, had a weird morning. Something is up with Lucy, which I'm a little worried, obviously. Lucy's my cat, by the way, if anyone's new here, because I talk about my cat a lot. Something's up with her. So the past 2 nights, Lucy has not come to bed. She typically comes to bed, but every now and again she won't, so I didn't think too much of it. But the other thing she's also done the past 2 nights is she will spit up a little bit at about like 6 in the morning. Like, it's way too early to get up, but she'll be kind of upset, and then she'll like spit up a little bit. And this morning she did it on the bed, like right near me, which when cats do that, they're trying to tell you something. That's how they let you know something's up, because she knows, she's not supposed to do that there. They typically don't want you to see them be sick or whatever. So what I'm thinking is that she's having, for whatever reason, she's having a problem with her wet food. She's been eating it for a long time. She's never had an issue. She's always liked it. But for some reason, she's having an issue with it. I don't know if I'm giving her a bigger portion than I used to. I don't think I am. I give her thirds of a can every night, and it's been that way since she's been on that food. I don't know, maybe I'm giving her a bigger scoop and I'm not paying attention, but I pay attention to it, you know what I mean? But then after she spits up, she's totally fine. Like, she's just herself again. And then she does come to bed and she purrs and she's totally normal, which makes me think, well, she isn't sick. If she was like sick, she wouldn't be herself after. And then she's herself in the morning. She eats normally. She's stoked for her dry food. So I'm thinking she's having an issue with her wet food. I don't know why. It's weird. But tonight, I'm going to not give her the wet food, see what happens. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys before the show starts. What's up, everybody? We might be over now. Oh, yeah, we're almost there. What's up, Karen? Hello, Statutory. Hello, Chris. Hello, Stacy. What's up, Amos? Mystic Warrior, what's up, buddy? Hey, by the way, Mystic Warrior, I don't know if you saw it, but I got a P.O. box, and it's on my website. So if you want to send me some music, please feel free to. Do not feel obligated to at all. But yeah. What's up, Air Force? What's up, Mike S? What's up, Karen? What's up, Renee? Do I comb her? Yes, I do. Yes, I do comb her. And what's up, vegan Tanya? Howdy from Indiana. What's up, Indiana? I'm gonna be in Indianapolis on May 1st. I don't know if that's your town or not, but I'm gonna be in Indianapolis on May 1st. So grab your tickets at romplacone.com. What's up, Kim? I haven't seen you in a long time. Lucy may have a hairball. It may be much more. I think it might be a food thing. I do brush her every day. She does every now and again get a hairball. All cats do. I'm gonna not give her wet food for a day or two, see if that changes things, and then if it doesn't, I'm gonna take her to the vet. But I have a feeling it's something I'm doing. I don't think it's more, because she's gotten sick before, and when she gets sick, she's sick. She does not respond to affection. She does not come to bed. She does not want to eat. She does not want to play. She does not do any of that, which makes me think it's something. She's having an issue with something that she's been given, which I can only assume is her wet food, because she doesn't have a problem with her dry food. Anyway, we got to start the show. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone, your host. We have hit 30. That means the show officially begins. I'll keep you guys posted on Lucy. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but it is a little weird. So I'm going to try to figure out what's going on. And if nothing changes in another day or two, I will take her to the vet. But anyway, what's up? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. if you're where I'm at, it's freaking morning. I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are wonderful. And it's Thursday, which is a fun day. I hope everyone is enjoying their week so far, and that you continue to. I don't know, whatever. And yeah, thank you for the concern about Lucy. I will keep you guys posted. I have a feeling it's just a dietary thing. Like I said, I've seen her sick before. She's not acting like she's sick. So, yeah. Kyle says, my cat always has issues when it's winter time. Actually, it is unusually cold here, Kyle, so that is possible. Green Fang, don't use clay litter. I don't. I use a walnut-based litter, and I've used the same litter for years. I don't think it's that. Jenna, you've been on tour out of town more. Maybe she is pissed off about that. I've been home for a little while now. I don't think it's that. I have a feeling for some reason she's having an issue with the wet food. I'm gonna like clean out all of her bowls. I'm gonna I brush her every day, but I'll be more thorough in it, I guess. She doesn't like being brushed, so sometimes I let her off the hook a little easier. But I'll be a little more thorough in that, and I'll keep an eye on her. But I have a feeling it's just, it's something that I'm doing at night that she's not responding to, and I can only assume it's her wet food. But anyway, let's move on, and I will keep you guys posted. This is in the news, and I'm pretty happy about this. Ohio City to stop observing Columbus Day, and instead of observing Columbus Day, guess what they're going to do? They're going to make Election Day a national holiday. Hell yeah. Officials in the city of Sandusky, Ohio, have decided that the city will no longer observe Columbus Day as a holiday. Good. Switching it for Election Day. I would love to see this become a federal thing. City commissioners made the change at a recent meeting. According to the Sandusky Register, the new rule, which takes effect this year, will give workers in all municipal offices the day off on Election Day, typically the first Tuesday in November. Here's a quote from it. What better way to celebrate the value of our employees and citizens than by removing barriers for them to participate in the greatest of American innovations, our democracy? City Manager Eric Wubser told the Sandusky Register that the swap is to encourage city employees to vote, as well as in response to controversy surrounding Columbus Day. As an Italian American, I can tell you I despise Columbus Day. I don't think it should be a thing. And, you know, this is coming from some personal experience. I've only ever been booed on stage one time, knock on wood, one time ever in my comedy career. As long as I've been doing stand-up, over a decade at this point, I've only ever been booed one time. And it happened in Western Pennsylvania when I did a joke about how Columbus Day is bullshit. I talked about how Columbus is bullshit. This is Western Pennsylvania. This is the area where I grew up. There's a lot of Italian Americans, and they started booing me. So, fuck Columbus Day. Fuck Columbus Day. And I finished the joke anyway. I didn't care. And then I was able to win them back. They were overall a cool bunch. They just, maybe don't know history. I don't know. But, but I was able to win them back, which is good. But fuck Columbus Day. It's bullshit. And if any Italian American... First of all, most Italian Americans that are in this country, myself being one of them, most of our ancestors come from the south of Italy. You know why? Because that was the area that was poor, that was being straddled, and that was being neglected by people like Columbus. So when people tell you, well, your ancestors are from Italy, yeah, and they probably hated that fucking guy. They probably hated him and everybody like him. Because those were the people that were neglecting them. That would be like if we traveled into the future and found out there was a Donald Trump Day. And people were like, well, my ancestors were from the USA, so I support this holiday. Like, no, most of us didn't like that fucking guy. Most of us did not like that guy. So I'm all about making it an Indigenous Peoples Day, or making it a day to celebrate whatever cultural heritage. But why have this dude be part of it? Christopher Columbus was a despicable human being in so many ways. Oh, and he got lost. That was all. He got lost. That was what he did. So, and I think Election Day should be a national holiday. So I am thrilled about this news. And I wish this was a federal thing. I wish federally they would make Election Day a national holiday, get rid of Columbus Day completely. But I want them to replace Columbus Day with something else like Indigenous Peoples Day. In fact, yeah, let's just Indigenous Peoples Day. That's fine. Like, why does it have to? Yeah, that's perfect. Why have anything other than that? That's great. And then if other cultural heritage want to have a parade that day too, that's fine too. If Italian Americans who typically would celebrate Columbus Day want to have an Italian parade, that's fine. That's totally fine. I got nothing against that. But yeah, let's rename it Indigenous Peoples Day, and let's keep that as a holiday, and let's make Election Day a federal holiday. Why do you want both, Ron? Because I like the idea of 2 frickin' holidays. That's why. I say the more holidays, the better. I think our work culture is fucked up, and anything we can do to diminish that a little bit is a good thing. More holidays, the better. I don't want to have to, pick out one for another. I want both, but let's rename the one that's shitty. So no Columbus Day. It's Indigenous Peoples Day now. You still get the day off. And no Election Day, Election Day becomes a federal holiday. You know what I meant. That's what I want. Why should we have to pick one? I want both. And I know you're thinking, Ron, you don't have a day job. This doesn't affect you. I know that. But the work culture in the United States affects all of us, whether you have a typical day job or not. So for the betterment of the society in which I live, that's what I want to see. I want both. So Sandusky, that's great news. But keep them both. Just rename it. Indigenous Peoples Day, boom, still a holiday. Election Day, holiday. Federal. That's what I want to see. What do you guys want to see? Let me see what y'all are saying. Howdy, howdy, Chris. What's up? Those Indianapolis tickets went on sale, by the way, buddy. Ron equals Tony Soprano. I wish I was that cool. Good morning in Iowa here. Did you hear about the news about Pelosi knocking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in a Green New Deal? Yes, I did, and we're actually going to be talking about that today. Some of you guys are thinking that Lucy is concerned about my fiance. That's possible. That's possible. Greenfang says Calabria. Is that where your ancestors are from, Greenfang? So mine are from Avellino. And, well, first of all, my ancestors that are still over there, they live all throughout the country. Some of them are in the north, some of them are in the south. But most of my ancestors, as far as we've been able to trace it back, come from Naples and Avellino, which Avellino is basically, it's very close to Naples. Napoli, and I've actually never been there. I've been to Italy 3 times, and I've never gotten there. It's a beautiful place. Jordan points out, most people don't get Columbus Day off, though. Will they get the Election Day off now? That's a good question. Yeah, that's true. Not everyone gets it off. I know that, I mean, schools and banks, they typically take it. What's up, Ron? Thanks for being part of the Truth Team. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. If there was a switch of holidays, I'd pick Columbus and Election Day. Yeah, we shouldn't have to pick. Yeah, we should get them both. My ancestors, says Gardeno, my ancestors and current relatives live in Genoa, Milan, and Venice area. Venice I freaking love. Milan is nice, but I prefer Bergamo. I like Bergamo a little better. And Genoa I've never been to. Garden Gnome, you look like you are Northern Italian. I know. Yeah, I know. That is very true. And in Northern Italy, there's people that are typically have fair skin and brighter hair like I do. But I'm actually not from there. So it throws people for a loop twice. Because they're like, you're Italian? And I'm like, yeah, I know Italy. You're Italian? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, it must be Northern Italy. And I'm like, actually, funny, but no. So, oh, and some of you guys are still giving some Lucy tips, which I appreciate the love, and Lucy appreciates it too. And, you know, at the end of the show, I'll bring her over here so she can say hi. But, Ron, how does your family reconcile cooking-wise North versus South? So, Emos, this is another fun thing. A lot of the Italian cuisine that we know here in America as, like, typical Italian food, you know, like spaghetti and red sauce, meatballs, although you never really see spaghetti and meatballs together over in Italy. But a lot of the cuisine we associate with Italian food, we being America, that's more common in southern Italy. Because a lot of the food that we associate with Italian food was actually over there considered peasant food. It was what the poor people ate. A lot of pastas and stuff like that. Up north, it's more common to have Florentine-style steak, spinocchi, which is like greens. It's very good. In Tuscan food, pasta's not as common. If you do have pasta, it's usually a starter dish, and that's all. But in southern Italy, a lot of the dishes we associate, even pizza and stuff like that, although you kind of see pizza everywhere, because that started as a treat for Queen Marguerite, hence Margherita pizza. But a lot of the cuisine that you associate with Italian food in the States comes more from southern Italy, because most of the people that came over from Italy were from the South, so they brought their food with them, and it was considered peasant food because they were poor. Pasta fagioli, which is, you know, one of my mom's favorite things in the world. But that's considered peasant food. That's considered comfort food. And I love that friggin' stuff. I'll tell you what, nothing makes me happier than firing up a nice aiolio, which is just linguine noodles and garlic and oil. It takes like 6 minutes, and it is heaven in a bowl. You know, I'm telling you guys, I make a mean aioli. I've been doing it for years because it was basically the first thing I learned how to make, because it takes 5 minutes. It's very easy. You just heat up some oil and garlic. You throw in the spices you want. You throw in a little butter if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. And you boil some linguine noodles. Combine it. Done. That's it. It's very simple, but it's perfect and it's delicious. And it's so funny because you go to a restaurant and they sell that shit for $18 a plate. That's why, I mean, you can find it cheap, but you know what I mean? Like, they sell that for a lot of money. Like I remember I saw $18 a plate for aiolio, and I'm like, I can make this in 5 minutes. And I guarantee it will be just as good, if not better, than what I'm served here. So I'm skeptical in Italian. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are fantastic Italian restaurants out there everywhere. In every city I have lived in, with exception to Nashville, I found my go-to Italian spot. That's not saying there aren't good Italian restaurants in Nashville. I just didn't find them. Not saying they're not there. I'm just saying I didn't find them. But I've always had my go-to spot. But you got to do a little sifting, because sometimes you'll go to an Italian restaurant and you'll just be like, I could have done this myself. It would have been just as good. And this is disgustingly overpriced. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Does my family play Mora? No, I'm not familiar with that. We play bocce. We do play bocce. Can I cook for 80 people if I had enough ingredients? Absolutely. And I do take pride in my marinara too. I've been working on that for a long time. The dish that I'm most proud of is like my my linguine cream dish, which is typically done with peas and prosciutto. Although I can make it traditionally with peas and prosciutto, but I can also do it with substitute prosciutto if I want to make a meatless version of it. And I can also substitute, I make a pescatarian version of it where I substitute smoked salmon in. So it's a peas and smoked salmon dish. The one thing I've not been able to make as far as that dish goes is a vegan version of it, because it involves a lot of different cheeses. So anyway, Ron, maybe you should do a few cooking videos. I will do that for the patrons, and I hope I hope people like it. Pancetta and pearl onions with peas, says Joshua. That sounds amazing. Butter and heavy cream is always delicious. Amen to that, Long Beach. All right. You guys are just making me hungry. Can you get Dr. Stephanie Kelton on to talk about MMT? I had Josh on to talk about MMT. Yeah. Or excuse me, I just called him Josh. I've had Jeff Epstein on. I called him Josh. Jesus. I had Jeff Epstein on to talk about MMT, and he did a great job. Check out that show. Ciao, Giovanna. Come stai oggi? Sta bene? Sono un po' stanco perché mi è gatto male al stomaco. Ma lei è buona adesso. All right. We got to move on. If we don't move on, I'm just going to start speaking different languages, and people are going to be like, what the fuck? I mean, some people left. They're just like, he's not even speaking English anymore. First he talked about food. Now he's like speaking a different language and shit. I don't know what he's trying to pull, but we're leaving. Some people left. They weren't into that. Giovanna, I hope you appreciated it. Some people left. All right. So here we go. We're going to start with an article about the Green New Deal, and then we're going to go more into what's going on with the Green New Deal. So let's not forget how the Green New Deal became the Green New Deal. This is an article by Ade Chavez that was written a few days ago. The signature effort that has become attached to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the Green New Deal. Now, that was originally intended to go by a different name, she told The Intercept in a podcast. But as social media and news outlets covering the platform began coalescing around the term, this had been a term that was long used by the Green Party. Why? Well, because Jill Stein began campaigning on it in 2012. Early use of the terms traces back oddly to Thomas Friedman, who wrote a New York Times column in 2007 about the concept and later expanded the idea in the book. The following year, Barack Obama made a Green New Deal, or green jobs, part of his presidential platform. I remember that. I remember the green jobs. What I also remember was the all-of-the-above approach on energy, and he really focused on the drilling part and the oil part, not so much on the green part. That's what ended up happening. So when you hear all of the above on energy, don't be fooled again. Do not be fooled again. And I was fooled. I voted for Obama twice. I voted for him twice. He wasn't my guy in the 08 primary. Kucinich was. Because Kucinich supported single-payer health care, and to my knowledge, Obama did not. So I was a Kucinich guy. But when Obama won, I thought he was going to take us in a better direction. And, I mean, compared to Bush, he did. He's better than Bush. But did he take us where we needed to be? Not even close. Did he take us where we could have gotten to? No, not even close. He didn't. I mean, read the book, Listen Liberal. There's so much more he could have done that he didn't do. That he just didn't want to do. Why? Because Obama's a moderate Republican. Who said that about him? Barack Obama. Barack Obama said that about Barack Obama. You know, you get these people that they put Obama on a shrine, that he's this untouchable deity to them. And then, you know, Obama was just a moderate Republican. They look at you like you're an alien, like you just committed a cardinal sin. And they're like, how dare you say that? Well, because Obama said it. Obama said it about himself. Go find that video. Anywho, let's get back to the Green New Deal. All right, so Ocasio-Cortez dropped by to cheer on the young activists, and in the ensuing weeks, this is referencing when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a bunch of activists in Sunrise showed up at Nancy Pelosi's office. Green New Deal was a working title, and we almost had the understanding that it was going to be something else, but it kept leaking and catching. So that's where the Green New Deal comes from. It can be traced back to the Green Party. It was a Green Party idea originally, and then also has some traces with Thomas Friedman, and now it was adopted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Look, you know, it's not the good thing is that it's in the mainstream narrative now. That's a good thing. As far as where it originated from, that's all fine and good. That's cool. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, I don't think she's trying to take credit like she invented it. I don't think she's doing that at all. It's good that it takes someone like her to bring it into the spotlight. Why I bring this article up, and what's interesting here, is that if we had a system that was a more representative democracy, it wouldn't take a progressive infiltrating the Democratic Party to really get it in the spotlight. If we had a system where we didn't have this two-party strangle, which is really just one party, it's just the money party, these ideas, which are essential ideas and are essential for our survival on the frickin' planet, would not have to be introduced by a progressive that had to infiltrate the Democratic Party. So that's just an interesting thing to take note of. And, it's representative of the toxicity of our system. And I'm not trying to only focus on the negative, because the positive here is that it's in the public spotlight. It's being talked about. It's being considered. Where is it now? Well, that brings us to our next story. And Joe, just make all this one clip, by the way. Green New Deal, Ocasio-Cortez unveils bold plan to fight climate change. Blueprint for a carbon-neutral economy has been embraced by prominent Democrats and evokes FDR's famous legacy. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is releasing a broad outline of a vision for the Green New Deal, a plan to battle economic and racial injustice while also fighting climate change. The new Congresswoman's blueprint, co-introduced by Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey, aims to develop a carbon-neutral economy in 10 years, which will require huge strides in reducing the U.S.'s reliance on oil, gas, and coal. It does not set a date for ending the use of fossil fuels. Specifically, the resolution says it is the duty of the federal government to craft a Green New Deal to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions. That includes getting all power from clean, renewable, and zero-emission energy sources. The document also endorses universal health care, a jobs guarantee, and free higher education, a huge shift in messaging from nearly a decade ago, when Democrats were advocating for a cap-and-trade system to limit greenhouse gases by allotting industry permits for pollution. 60 members of the House and 9 senators are co-sponsoring the resolution, including several presidential candidates, according to a fact sheet from congressional aides that did not include a list of supporters. However, any legislation would be dead on arrival with Republicans in control of the Senate and the White House. That is true. This is great. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said a select committee on climate change, which she has announced the members of, will not be tasked with writing a specific bill and called the Green New Deal a, quote, suggestion. Here's what she said to Politico. Get this. It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive, Pelosi said in an interview with Politico. The Green Dream, or whatever they call it, nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right? That's great. That's great. So many people are applauding Nancy Pelosi for the way she clapped her hands at Donald Trump. Like, oh, she stood up to him. She clapped like this. You know what matters a little bit more to me than that she mocked Donald Trump? And Donald Trump is despicable. What matters more to me is that she's also mocking her colleagues who want to extend our stay on this fucking planet, who actually want to do something about climate change. The Green Dream, or whatever they call it, they're for it, right? Where's my mimosa? How out of touch can you be? This is about the planet, Nancy. We want to stay on the planet for as long as we can. Climate change is inevitable, but we can do a little bit. We can do a little bit to not make it so drastic so we can stay here longer and live our fucking lives. We can do something. But if we do nothing, we're fucked. We don't want to be fucked, Nancy. Maybe you don't give a shit because you're a 100 millionaire. Maybe you don't care. The Green Dream, she doesn't even know what it's called. She doesn't know what it's called. She's the speaker. She's the leader of the party. She does not know what one of the most important pieces of legislation of all of our lifetimes is called. That's a leader. This is why I don't understand how people take electoral politics serious. I mean, you have to, because this is the disgusting system we're stuck with. But why pretend it's anything other than a disgusting, corrupt system? Why give credence to Look at the way she clapped her hands. She clapped her hands. It was mock. I don't even know if it was, by the way. I mean, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. I don't really give a shit. That State of the Union was a disaster. It was a war rally. Again. It was another war rally. The State of the Union was a war rally. Who would have thought the New England Patriots winning the Super Bowl wouldn't be the most predictable thing to happen this week? Like, oh, you know what's even more predictable? State of the Union was a war rally. The State of the Union is a war rally more often than the Patriots win the frickin' Super Bowl. Which, I didn't really watch that game, by the way. We talked about the Super Bowl briefly. I don't have much to say. I didn't really watch it. I did tune in for the halftime show, which I regretted. And so, all right, let's go into this article because I want to look more into the policy here. But that's good that the leader of the opposition party doesn't know what the Green New Deal is. The only party that has a chance of making the Green New Deal a reality, their leader doesn't give a shit about it, doesn't even know what it's called. That's great. That's great. That gives me blue no matter who, right? That's what's going to get us out of this mess, right? Unbelievable. Discussions on what shape the plan would take also involve major environment, justice, and labor organizations, as well as the Youth Sunrise Movement. Backers hope the 6-page resolution will push Democrats vying for the White House in 2020, not just to sign to the general idea, but to lay out specific legislative goals. Some environmental groups, including Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace, said they were encouraged by the movement on climate change, but that the resolution does not do enough to confront fossil fuels. The Sierra Club, however, welcomed the document. Ocasio-Cortez, Dem socialist from New York, who has been in Congress for just over a month, centered her campaign on climate change and the Green New Deal. Good. But the resolution itself focuses on the tenets of a progressive policy platform as much as it does on climate change. It is both a framework for a cleaner energy future and a plan for a large-scale mobilization that would rival in scale and scope the progressive New Deal policies ushered in under President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in response to the Great Depression. All right. So here are the people who say they're for it. Before the text was released, several presidential candidates had already embraced the notion of a Green New Deal, including Senators Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker, and Kirsten Gillibrand. The former San Antonio mayor, Julian Castro, committed to the plan during his campaign announcement. The Democratic Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, who is the co-chair of the House Progressive Caucus and a sponsor of the legislation, said the resolution defined the scale and scope of what must be done to combat climate change. We really need an urgent and comprehensive approach, she said. All right. So that's where we're at as far as the Green New Deal goes. There is some specific legislation out there. It looks like it's definitely a strong start. We do have to do something about fossil fuels. We have to get off of fossil fuels for our cars. Apparently, it doesn't tread into that territory. No pun intended, by the way. And why doesn't it? I don't know specifically. I mean, we're still waiting for a lot of the specifics on this. We just kind of get a skeletal outline. So why the details land where they land, I don't really have the answers to that yet. I don't think any of us do. But at least it's starting because we got to do something. We got 12 years. We got to do something. So I hope this continues to move forward. Obviously, we're not going to see any significant movement when the Senate and the White House are Republican controlled, but hopefully we can build a big enough movement around this that come 2020, it's got to be front and center. And Ocasio-Cortez isn't going to do that by herself. Neither is any other elected official. That's going to take the Sunrise Movement, the Yellow Vest. It's going to take Extinction Rebellion. It's going to take all those movements. It's going to take climate action. It's going to take task force locally. You know, I mean, I keep saying that, and I know I say this stuff a lot, and I know some of you might be like, Ron, we get it, but it's essential. Like, it's what we need. Like, it's not, things aren't going to change otherwise. So I am encouraged by this. I hope you are as well. But we still have a long way to go. But at least we're moving forward. And, of course, we'll keep an eye on a Green New Deal because it's essential to the survival of our planet. All right. And I forgot to tweet out the articles today, which I'm just realizing now. I apologize for that. I always tweet out the articles right before the show starts. And I just realized I forgot to do that today. You know, Lucy was on my mind. I was a little worried about my cat. And but she's fine. She's just chilling. She's totally cool right now. So I'll tweet out what we got left. And then I'll tweet out the first two we did a little later. So let me do that now. Shout out to our sponsor, ZT.com, by the way. Their tea kind of rules. And looking for a new social media platform that does not sell your information? Check out microbinge.com. It's a really cool platform. Microbinge.com. Sign up today. I'm on it. I post on it. It's a really fun platform. Again, that's microbinge.com. All right, let me get these articles out for you guys. And then we will move on to the rest of the stories today. And yeah, sorry about not doing it at first. I do apologize for that, but yeah, you know, when something's wrong with your cat, you just kind of don't know what to say, you know? You get caught for a loss a little bit. All right. So, these two things kind of go hand in hand. We have a little bit of net neutrality news. The FCC struggles to convince the judge that broadband isn't telecommunications. So what's going on here? As you guys know, February 1st, we talked about this, the court case on net neutrality was had. This is where about a dozen organizations, including Mozilla, Vimeo, freepress.net, and other digital rights organizations, took the FCC to court over the repeal of net neutrality. So what did the FCC do? Well, of course, Trump's FCC repealed net neutrality, and prior to this repeal, the internet was designated as a Title II classification by the FCC. That means it's a telecommunications service that needs to be considered a common carrier. Kind of like a telephone call. Your telephone calls flow like flowing water. The internet had to be treated the same way. Now, they're making the argument that the internet should be considered a Title I. What is considered a Title I? Well, radio, television, something that can be controlled by corporations more, something corporations have more control over. They're arguing that the internet is an information service. So basically, in this court case, the people against the FCC are saying, hey, you can't just change this Title II designation. You can't just be like, hey, sorry, we were drunk a couple years ago when we made that designation. Our bad. It's actually an information service, so screw net neutrality. They're saying, hey, you can't do that. You don't have a good basis to say that this isn't a common carrier. You're overstepping your power here. So that's what they're doing. And the FCC has to make the case that the internet is not a common carrier. It's an information service. They're having a hard time doing it. Let's look into why. Well, they're having a hard time doing it because it's complete bullshit. That's why. But let's look at the reason as to why as far as this court case is concerned. All right, FCC struggles to convince judge that broadband isn't telecommunications. A Federal Communications Commission lawyer faced a skeptical panel of judges today as the FCC defended its repeal of net neutrality rules and deregulation of the broadband industry. This happened on February 1st, by the way. FCC General Counsel Thomas Johnson struggled to explain why broadband shouldn't be considered a telecommunications service and struggled to explain why the FCC's failure to protect public safety agencies from internet providers blocking or slowing down content. Oral arguments were held today in the case, which is being decided by a 3-judge panel of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. Okay, so the judges, it seems like a lot of the judges here are expressing their skepticism towards what the FCC is saying. The lawsuit seeking to overturn the net neutrality repeal was filed by more than 36 entities, including state attorney generals, consumer advocacy groups, and tech companies such as Mozilla and Vimeo. And Free Press is among those organizations. I corresponded with some folks at Free Press. We're not going to hear a total result of this until about June or July. There's still going to be a lot of back and forth, a lot of deliberating. So we're not going to hear a result of this until June or July. But this is great news. All of the reports out of that courtroom have indicated that the FCC struggled to convince these judges that the internet isn't a Title II designation and isn't deserving to just be treated like flowing water. And what was one of the for instances that really helped with this case? I think this article tells you. Here, let me find it here. Boom. The throttling of firefighters' data. So what happened there, for a quick refresher? Well, when the wildfires were going on in California, firefighters were trying to fight that fire, and they needed access to information because they were fighting a fire. They needed to be able to communicate. Verizon throttled their ability to send and receive messages because with the loss of net neutrality, Verizon was able to get away with that. So if you are the FCC and you're trying to make the case that, hey, the internet's not a common carrier, they're going to say, it better be a common carrier for these firefighters that needed it to exchange information to fight a fire. So the FCC's been under a lot of heat for that. No pun intended. I actually didn't mean that pun. Wow, that was bad. That was not on purpose. Wow, that was totally not on purpose. Yikes. That was bad. Yeah, they're facing a lot of heat for throttling the data. Ron, they were fighting wildfires. All right, dude, fucking calm down. We get it. You're a comic, but you couldn't have just kept that one in your pocket. Wasn't even on purpose. And I drink water from a mason jar. So that is a good for instance in the case, and that's going to hurt the FCC, which is good, because the FCC is not on our team. And hopefully they overturn the horrible decision to repeal net neutrality. Now, here is another victory that indicates that the judges are kind of seeing it the net neutrality way, so to speak. Ajit Pai loses in court. Judges overturn gutting of a tribal broadband program. This is a different court situation. So what was going on here? A federal appeals court has overturned Ajit Pai's attempt to take broadband subsidies away from tribal residents. The Pai-led FCC voted 3-2 in November of 2017 to make it much harder for tribal residents to obtain a $25 per month lifeline subsidy that reduced the cost of internet and phone service. The change didn't take effect because in August of 2018, the U.S. Court of Appeals stayed the FCC decision pending appeal. The same court followed up on that Friday last week with a ruling that reversed the FCC decision and remanded the matter back to the Commission for a new rulemaking proceeding. Since 2000, low-income consumers living on tribal lands may receive an additional $25 per month for these services through the Tribal Lifeline Program in recognition of the additional hurdles to affordable telecommunication services on tribal land. So this really helps the case for the internet being considered a telecommunications service, a common carrier, and getting us net neutrality back. This ruling really helps with that. So what was this in summary? So on tribal lands, they would get subsidies for internet service, $25 a month. Ajit Pai's FCC, because they just like to be hella evil and hurt people, decided to take this away. They were like, fuck you, you can't have that anymore. Screw you, natives. That's what they did. And they said, you can't have that. Or if you do have it, it should only go to phone or something like that. It shouldn't be the internet. Because again, the Ajit Pai FCC is trying to make the case that the internet is an information service and should be treated similar to TV or radio. That's what the Ajit Pai FCC is trying to do. Net neutrality proponents and proponents for municipal broadband are trying to make the case, no, the internet is an essential tool to our lives at this point. It is like flowing water. It is a free and open publishing platform. It needs to stay that way. And we got policy in our favor permanently on the books in 2015. So in this particular case, the judges ruled in favor of a net neutrality supported argument. They're saying, no, they still get this for internet because the internet is a telecommunications service. It's a common carrier. So this subsidy still goes towards internet. Man, doesn't it just make you sleep easy at night knowing that that's what the FCC is up to. This is how the FCC spends their time. Not saying, hey, how can we help underserved areas get better access to internet? Maybe if we didn't have this organized price gouging duopoly of corporations, we could have better infrastructure, internet infrastructure in the United States. Nobody's worried about that, but the FCC, instead of being worried about like, oh, gee, is this common carrier serving the public good as good as it needs to be? If not, what is in our jurisdiction to help? Instead of worrying about something like that, they're worried about how can we take internet away from underserved areas that are underserved to begin with, because these are tribal lands. Chances are they're very rural, so they probably don't have great broadband access to begin with. Why do rural areas typically not have great broadband access? Because places like Comcast and AT&T don't want to build there because they don't think they can make enough money. That's why. So these are underserved areas to begin with, and the FCC spends time trying to hurt them even further, trying to take even more away from them. Do you see how grossly against the people that is? This chapter of the FCC is among the most horrific, maybe ever in the history of the agency. And damn, it's an agency with a shitty history. This is the same agency that Bill Clinton allowed to deregulate all protections for radio. They homogenized radio and gutted the medium with Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996. This is an agency that spends their time worrying about if a swear word slips in on the radio. You know, because we live in an economy of war, but heaven forbid you hear the word shit on the radio. It's okay that our airwaves are completely homogenized and run by far right-wing organizations, even NPR at this point, which gets money from the Koch brothers, and it's shown in the type of content they have in NPR. That's fine. But if the word shit pops through, then we got to do something. So that's the FCC. It's already a horrible organization. There has never been a good chapter for the FCC. Even the good that they've done, i.e. designating the internet a Title II classification to get net neutrality solid on the books, even what good they've done, they've been forced to do it. Tom Wheeler didn't want to do that. Tom Wheeler, chair of the FCC, when net neutrality got on the books in 2015. By the way, we've had net neutrality since the advent of the internet. It just got challenged in court, so they had to solidify it on the books. Tom Wheeler didn't want to do it. What little good the FCC's done, they didn't even want to do. And Ajit Pai has somehow managed to take the FCC to an extra level of despicable. That's, wow. Somebody fucks that guy. I think he has kids. I mean, they have to know that that's their dad. Like, hey, what does your dad do? He makes a despicable agency even more despicable. And he wants to make sure people can't get the internet easily. And he wants to completely change the internet from what we know it as. Why? So corporations that pay him can make more money. I mean, sometimes I think about that. Like what happens? I mean, I guess in a lot of ways when you people just kind of stay in their bubble. Like I sometimes wonder, I'm like, what is it like? Like, what is it like for like Dick Cheney? But then it's like you see what Dick Cheney's children say in public. You see what Meghan McCain says in public, and you realize like, oh, they just stay in their bubble. They just stay in their bubble. That's how. Anyway, so I want to see what you guys are saying, and then we're gonna end the show today. And as promised, I will bring Lucy over to say hello. Because I want you guys to all know that she's okay. Michael O'Neill, Clear Channel's Descendant is now gobbling up podcasts too. What do you mean by that? What are you referring to? I don't know what that refers to, actually. Herman reminds us that Obama gave us pie, which is true. Obama introduced a G pie to the fold. Daniel, is that a Bad Religion t-shirt? Yes, it is a Bad Religion t-shirt. iHeartMedia is what Clear Channel turned into. Well, and then it was also, a lot of those stations were bought off by Bain Capital, which is Mitt Romney's company. So Clear Channel, actually, I don't think, they don't have what they used to have. Now a lot of it is Bain Capital, which is Mitt Romney's company. But this is some good news for net neutrality. Overall, this is some really good news for net neutrality. I'm going to get tickets to your indie show today. Is Graham going to be there too? No, that's just going to be me. That's just me. Graham's not able to come to that. I'm coming to Indiana because I'm going to a bachelor party. It's my future brother-in-law. My future brother-in-law went to Indiana University because my sister went there too, as well as myself. And he wants to have his bachelor party in Bloomington. And so, yeah. I figured I got to go. It's my future brother-in-law. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. He's a little younger than me, and I don't know any of his friends, so I don't know, like, I might just be, like, kind of like the token older family member. But I'm doing a show the night before in Indy, because I figured I got to fly into Indy. I might as well do a show, because why not? August, thank you for the Bad Religion love. This is a Bad Religion t-shirt. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm going to B-Town. Guys, I love Bloomington. I went to college at Indiana University. But here's something interesting. It is the night of, the weekend of graduation. So it's like the worst possible time to go to Bloomington. And they're not doing that on purpose. So the reason we're going to Bloomington graduation weekend is because they want to go to the Derby in Louisville after. They want the bachelor weekend to start in Bloomington, party in Bloomington, then go over to the Louisville Derby. I'm not going to the Derby. I'm just going to the Bloomington part of it. I'm only going for part of it. But we're going to be in Bloomington during graduation weekend, which is the worst time to ever be in Bloomington, Indiana, or any college town for that matter. The worst time to be in any college town is when it's graduation weekend. Unless, of course, you're one of the graduates or in their family. But otherwise, terrible freaking time. But that's when we got to go there, which kind of sucks. But what are you going to do? Let me go get Lucy. And anyway, yeah, I'll plug the shows and all that stuff. Let me go get Lucy first. Hey, sweetie, come here. You feeling okay? Everybody's worried about you. Hey, come on, everyone's worried about you. People are worried about you, Lucy. Hello, everybody. I'm looking forward to the stream ending because that's when I get my treat. Something's going on with me at night, and I'm trying to tell my daddy that something's got to change. He'll figure it out. He's a smart guy. Too bad I can't talk. Support the show. Become a patron so I can get more cat treats. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. Give what you can level. Love you. There you go. So she's chilling. Right now she's chilling. So she's totally herself now. She always gets excited around now because she knows that when the stream's over, she gets a treat. Because I brush her. And then after I brush her, I give her a treat, and she likes that. Again, her behavior's been completely normal, other than like in the morning, like early in the morning. She acts weird at night, like she doesn't come to bed. The past 2 nights, which she does not do, but the past 2 nights she hasn't come to bed. And then, yeah. Anyway, you guys get the idea. I explained it earlier. So yeah, something. I think it's her food. So I'm going to switch that out, and then if she's still being weird, I'm going to take her to the vet, but I'm pretty sure she's not sick, because whenever she's gotten sick before, I've known. She's not subtle about letting you know when she's sick. So, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, I think the food change will be all it'll take. Yeah. All right. Guys, we are totally out of time. Some tour dates. Indianapolis was just announced May 1st. I'm in Indianapolis. That's just me. But grab those tickets, ronplacone.com. In March, Graham Elwood and I are coming to the Gulf, New Orleans, Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, Oxford, Mississippi, and what's the last date on that? Pensacola, Florida. Get those tickets at ronplacone.com. April, we're going to be in Texas. May, we're going to be in Salt Lake City and Boise. And June, we're going to the East Coast. We got New Haven, Connecticut confirmed, Baltimore, D.C., New York City, and we're still confirming some more dates. Boston, we're coming. We're working on that. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you for an awesome week. I will see you guys on Monday. I'll see you guys on Monday. Tomorrow, the podcast comes out. You can grab the Get Your News On with Ron podcast on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts. It's a great time. Check out the podcast if you missed anything from the week. Thank you guys so much for being part of this. Thank you for helping me stay sane while I get my news. It's such a crazy world out there, but I get to get my news with a bunch of cool people, so it makes it more bearable. It makes it more fun, and I hope it does the same for you. You guys are amazing. I will see you Monday. Have a great weekend.